Hey, yo, everyone, Andrew here, bringing you another video review, and today we're going to be doing my comic load for the week, as well as news, updates, questions, answers, and everything else that goes in between. And I do have a lot of news and updates for you guys, particularly what I've been up to, some of my changes in my comic poll list, and the reason why I haven't really been posting out many videos, which hopefully will change. But the past few weeks have been kind of crazy weeks, so I'll get into that when we get into that. During anytime during this video, I'm going to have to pause it because I think I'm going to get a phone call, and that's just from the missus because she wants to go out, and so I'll have to pause it, but that will that will be happening at some point, so just a heads up. But yeah, we will get into news and updates, but we might as well start where we always start, with a little bit of Batman in our life, with Detective Comics issue number 21. So basically, an assassin comes to town, an assassin from Batman's past. If you remember reading issue 0 of Detective Comics, that person is going to come right to mind. And Harper Row guest stars in this issue. And what does Harper Row do? Well, get in trouble, because that seems to be what she does best. She tries to take out the assassin on her own. But will she be successful? Or will Batman have to intervene in a way that Batman doesn't want to intervene? Well, just gonna have to read and see. Good, bad, whether or not you should get it. Good. I like that we're taking elements from the issue 0, which I thought was one of the better issue 0s for Batman in the 0 month, the issue 0 month. I thought it was a good issue 0, so I'm liking that they're taking elements from that. I think Harper Row was handled very well here, and I think the relationship between her and Batman were handled well here. John Layman had a pretty good grasp on her. The art was good, and the action was good. Bad, I felt as though. Oh, and another good thing is we get a backup with Man Bat. Bad as I felt as though the story. I know this isn't the case, but it feels as though the story's kind of over. That the assassin isn't going to be used anymore after this for whatever reason I won't get into. But I feel as though that's the last we're going to see of her for at least a while. Whether or not that's the case, we're just going to have to wait and see. But I got that feeling, which did kind of hurt the comic a little. On a whole, oh, in addition to that, I felt as though there wasn't really much of a fight between her and Batman. There was some good action in this, particularly where Batman flies a plane into a building just because he can. Um, but yeah, that's about it. On a whole, whether or not you should get it, yeah, definitely. This was a good issue. I felt as though it was a good issue for people that like Harper Row, but also because I don't know, it was just fun. 4 out of 5. Moving on to Batwing, issue number 21. So, again, we have the new Batwing, and he's trying to get his feet dirty to kind of show that he's ready for the big time by taking on Lion Mane, who is a weird thing. If you've not seen the pictures, it's kind of hard to describe. Picture a man. And picture like how a centaur is half man, half human, half horse. This is like half man, half lion. But in addition to that, he has a lion. Anyway, so Batwing versus Lion Mane, and the two go at each other. While this is going on, Batwing's life outside of being Batwing is slowly kind of falling apart. Being dumped, his parents not liking him, having to go constantly to different places to help out Batman, and it's just tearing his life apart. Can Batwing find that balance? And at the end of the day, will Lion Mane go on a ruckus? Chaotic ruckus. Kind of tongue tied today. Good, bad, whether or not you should get it. Good. Although I didn't care for Lion Mane in the first issue, I actually liked him a lot in this issue. There was action tremendously in this issue. A really good action too. Nice fight issue. The good first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 pages is just a fight, and after that there's even more action. So good action. I do like. I do like the new Batwing. I do like how Lucas Fox Jr. Or he just goes by Luke Fox. I do like how he's a little bit more integrated into the Batman universe, and I think he reminds me of this a lot. This reminds me a lot of Batman Beyond, from the aesthetic design of the suit to the character and how he acts. This he feels a lot like Terry McGinnis in a way, but I like the youth, I like the pep, and I like how he's kind of just, you know, getting his feel of being a hero. Uh, Bad? None really. This was a good issue. Batwing is stepping up. I'm really enjoying it. Good jump on point for Batwing was the 2 issues ago. Even just an issue ago was a good jump on point, because really didn't get much of who the new Batwing was beforehand. So um, pick it up. 5 out of 5. On to Phantom Stranger, issue number 9. So, if you haven't been reading Phantom Stranger like I have, I have been reading it. I made it sound like I'm not reading it, but I have been reading it. The story is very deep, and it could be kind of confusing to review, but I'll give the best I can. So, Phantom Stranger basically goes to hell to save his family, who has been taken there by who is truly, really their husband slash father. Phantom Stranger has been taking over the life of an individual and has assumed that individual's family as his own. But that individual has come back as the Sin Eater to take his revenge on Phantom Stranger. But to be fair, that guy was going to kill his family anyway, so I don't see why he gives 2 lickings. Probably because he kind of got stabbed in the back, but again, who cares? Anyways, Phantom Stranger goes to hell and back to get his family. However, the real twist comes when he has to go to heaven and back to get his family. And we all know how much heaven does not like the Phantom Stranger. Will he eventually get his family back, or will he have to make the ultimate sacrifice that will hurt him in the end? You're going to have to read and see. Good, bad, whether or not you should get it. Good. The story is so fun and fascinating, and it really is just different. It's not a story that we've read too much beforehand. I love the characterization of Phantom Stranger. He's such a flawed individual, and it is a completely drastic take on the character from what we've had beforehand. Before, the character was kind of mysterious, omnipresent, kind of guy. Now he's kind of a douche, but he's a flawed douche that you have to love. I think the pacing was really good in this, and the dialogue was very well done, and the cliffhanger at the end, again, was really fun. Phantom Stranger also has some great imagery in it, in particular when he uh, walks into his destroyed house and sees his family there, and it's brutal. Uh, so, yes, Phantom Stranger has a lot good going for it. Does it have any bad? No, no, not really. Phantom Stranger went from being a mediocre series to really picking up its pace. It was kind of a slow burn, but a good slow burn. I will give this a 5 out of 5. And I want to point out they are now calling it the Trinity of Sin, Phantom Stranger. So pick it up. On to Swamp Thing, issue number 21. So, we kind of continue this story that started with Swamp Thing. This woman wants to get sanctuary from Swamp Thing. She's apparently immortal, and she made a deal with a previous Swamp Thing, or at least utilizing a rule that a previous Swamp Thing had, which is Sanctuary of the Leaf. Anyone who is a follower of nature can go and get sanctuary from a Swamp Thing. But Alec Holland's like, hey, I didn't make this rule. It's not me. It was some other one. I have to think about this. And while this is going on, she's being hunted by people because apparently killing her, it's a good thing. And let's just say Swamp Thing loses his head over it. Quite literally. Good, bad, whether or not you should get it. Good. I feel as though this story, it it's fun and it's interesting. It's different. Um, I felt as though it has a lot good going for it. I like the art in this. And I felt as though it was I think it was pretty decently paced. Bad, I I don't like how torn Alec Holland is. The woman's clearly getting hunted and could get killed, and he's like, well, I don't know if I should really help you out. I don't know if I really should give you sanctuary. It feels very unsympathetic of him. To be fair, the new take on Swamp Thing is that he's more plant than human, and his interest only lies with the green, but he kind of comes off as a dick here. And I would have liked a little bit known a little bit more about this woman, why she's immortal, why people want to kill her. I know they kind of touched on it a little, but I would have liked more of it. Putting that aside, while this may not be Scott Snyder's Swamp Thing, it still is a fun take on Swamp Thing, and I've been enjoying the comic for the most part. I will give it a 4 out of 5. Swamp Thing. I will be honest though, it's not. I don't get as excited for Swamp Thing as I did a couple months ago when Scott Snyder was doing Swamp Thing. I don't know why. So yeah, moving on. Anime Con Girls issue number 4, introducing Sinestra. So this is basically a twofold story. The first story is trying to remove the black kryptonite from Supergirl and using, and that we get an introduction of the Atom in this, the female Atom, and she helps out Power Girl save her cousin. And I am hungry while I'm doing this. Nature bar. The second story is really Sinestro's introduction, or Sinestra introduction into the Anime Con Girl universe. And it's a completely different take on her than you would think, which is good because it kind of mixes things up. Will the black kryptonite be taken out of Supergirl? Will Sinestra invade Earth? And exactly what tricks does Sinestra have up her sleeve to make herself even more powerful than the New 52 Sinestro? Good, bad, whether or not you should get it. Good. I felt as though the backstory for Sinestro was actually really interesting. I like the take of it, and I like how it was different than Sinestro's backstory. She is not a disgraced Green Lantern, per se. I also like the... How should I say? I like the resolve that came with Supergirl and the Black Kryptonite, because it was resolved. Bad, didn't really care for the Sapphire stuff that was going on, and I felt as though there was, again, the Anime Con Girl I feel is better when there's not as much dialogue. Jimmy Palmiotti and Justin Gray do a good job with dialogue, but I'm just not as interested in like the internal dialogue as I am on just quick, fast, straight to the point dialogue. So I felt as though the dialogue could have been dwindled down a bit. What's the other bad? I already said Star Sapphire. Yeah, Star Sapphire really didn't do too. She really doesn't feel as though she contributed much. She was kind of an enemy, but she doesn't really contribute much to the story. Besides that, it was a decent issue. I will give it a 3 out of 5. Although I will be honest, Anime Con Girl may get cut at some point. Not necessarily because it's bad, more or less because I've been adding stuff to my list and can't have too much. So, moving on, we have The Movement, issue number 2. So I said that The Movement issue number 1 was enough to make me want to at least pick up issue number 2. And here we go. Issue number 2, we get to see more of the Movement team. We get to see how they interact, how they talk to each other, like even like their small little meetings they have, their hidden base that they have, and we get a little bit more of an understanding of the characters themselves. While this is going on, one of the members kind of has a hissy fit and wants to go all out. Exactly how that works for them in the end, you're just going to have to read and see. We're also getting kind of a bit more feel about who this team is and what they're about. Good, bad, whether or not you should get it. Good is I think this does an excellent job at fleshing out the characters a little bit more, giving us a little bit more to work with, who they are, where they're from, why they do what they do, and how they interact with each other. We still relatively don't know much about the characters, maybe their overarching backstory, and I still haven't really learned their names that much. I think it's important to remember the names of the characters. With this, I don't really remember those names that much, but we do get a better sense of the characters, so I think that is good. There is a lot of action in this, and I think the action is really fun, kind of gritty at some point, pretty violent, but some pretty good action. And again, I like how their powers are unique, like a guy that can command rats. Uh, Bad, I can't say there's much bad about it. It didn't wow me, but it does enough to make me want to pick up issue 3. I think the thing that's going to help this comic, and I think the thing that's going to make this comic stand out if they continue the trend, is the characters themselves. The story and the concept, while okay, aren't as strong as the characters, and that's the thing. It just needs, I need to remember these characters because I could flip through this book and look for their names, but I really don't know their names that much. That's the thing. When Ravengers issue number 1 came out, I remembered every single Ravager's name. Lightning, Thunder, Ridge, Caitlin Fairchild, Beast Boy, Terror. Granted, 2 of those I already knew, but the thing is I remember these characters. Although I have to say the movement issue number 2 was good. I think it's a fun, new, different kind of comic. It's not rehashing any old stuff, so I will give it 3.5 out of 5. I will consider picking up issue number 3, and I would say there's a very good chance it might happen. So we're getting to the end of the week. This week was kind of a short week, so this is what, the first week of the month? Or second week? I think it's the first week. Well, we still have 4 more to go. Green Lantern, issue 21. Sorry, I'm just hungry. I did have breakfast. So, this is a big issue in that it is the starting of a new era. Robert Venditti is jumping on as Green Lantern writer, and Jeff Johns is no longer on there. It's a little bittersweet. And the reason why I say that is Jeff Johns has done a tremendous amount for the Green Lantern universe, really elevating it to A-level comic status, if I could be so bold. But at the same time, the one thing I said is, I think it's good that we're getting fresh blood and we're taking new chances and risks with the comic. You can't rely on Jeff Johns for too long. Does Robert Venditti pull this all off? Well, you're going to have to see. Basic concept of this is, after the fallout of the previous issue, the Guardians that were locked away say, hey, yeah, we'd be willing to help you guys out, but we know nothing about this universe. We have no right to lead the Green Lanterns. So we're just going to go bugger off and figure out, exactly what the universe is like. And I think that's going to happen in Green Lantern New Guardians, because they're on the cover for that. Hal Jordan's like, yeah, sure, if you want to do that, that's cool. I don't mind. But then those Guardians say, hey, by the way, Hal, you're the leader. And he goes, do you think that's a really good idea to make me the leader? And they say, yeah, definitely. You're the greatest Green Lantern of them all. You were instrumental in defeating the first Lantern. And everyone speaks highly of you, except for, like, Guy Gardner. But, yeah, definitely. You're going to lead the Green Lantern Corps in our stead. And that's basically what happens. So Hal is leader of the Green Lanterns, and Hal makes very Hal Jordan-like decisions. However, a new enemy shows up and basically putting Hal Jordan to the test. Can Hal Jordan defeat this enemy? And more importantly, can Hal Jordan do it with nothing but new recruits? Because remember, the Green Lantern Corps is a little thin right now since the death of many of their members in the previous story. Good, bad, whether or not you should get it. Good. I like Billy Tan's art in this. I like the change up in the art, and I felt as though it suited the comic very well. I think the story is very interesting. Hal Jordan being leader of the team. the Green Lanterns, if not just for a short amount of time. I think it's a good way of taking him out of his comfort zone. I love that Hal Jordan is back on the comic because Hal is my favorite character in the Green Lantern universe and my favorite Green Lantern. Um, and I felt as though there's some good genuine moments. I like the fact that Hal kind of has to work with these rookies to take on this enemy. Bad, the only glaring problems I have with this is one, Carol Ferris is a bitch in this issue. Part of my language. I usually don't like to say that, but it's the truth. She spends X amount of time trying to get Hal Jordan back. Try to, bring him back to life and all this stuff. And not even like 2 days is he back alive. Hal Jordan comes in and he says, "Hey, Carol, you want to go out to dinner?" And she's like, "Listen, we got to talk." And he's like, "What did I do now? I just came back to life." And she's like, "Listen, I really don't like the fact that you're with the Green Lantern Corps as much, and that, it always comes between us, and I feel as though I can't really trust you in that sense." And he's like, "Did you not just risk, like, heaven and hell to, bring me back to life?" "Yeah, but I give you too many chances, Hal." What? I felt as though Hal didn't do anything wrong either. I could understand if Hal, like, I don't know, cheated on her or, like, disappeared or anything, but before he got killed, he was fully committed to her. He's like, "Take it off the ring. I'm all yours." It wasn't until Sinestro showed up and pulled him out and literally kidnapped him, which prompted Carol Ferris to go searching for him. Did he, leave? I mean, it just baffles me why she's acting this way. And LaFreeze shows it up, and it's kind of random why LaFreeze shows up. But other than that, good issue. 4 out of 5. I like the art, I like the writing, and I'm interested to see where it goes. And oh god, my contacts are itching the shit out of me. Moving on to Superman, or Action Comics, issue number 21. This is the end of Andy Diggle's and Tony Daniels running the comic. And Tony Daniel does the majority of the work here. I think he writes it, he's the artist for it, and he's using the scripts that Andy Diggle used. So, yeah. Basically, this is Superman versus a hybrid versus Lex Luthor. And it's just a Superman-Lex Luthor throwdown. Plain, flat, and simple. Yeah. Good, bad, whether or not you should get it. That's it. Good. I liked that this was Superman versus Lex Luthor, and there was some pretty good moments in this, particularly where Superman flies right into Lex. It is a awesome picture. 2, the art is beautiful. And I like this is kind of the downfall of Lex. This is why Lex is in prison, why he hasn't been out. Or it could be at least leading to the reason. 3, dialogue is great. And it's, for the most part, the action is fantastic. Bad. Pacing was horrible. And I felt as though the story arc was a little too short. Whether or not you should get it, I will give this a 3.5 out of 5. I think the good outweigh the bad, but the bad is clear. I think it's just a shame that this creative team is jumping off when they just jumped on. So I'm interested to see where Action Comics is going to go from here. Now, pardon me, we have two comics left. So, moving on. Green Arrow, issue number 21. Holy shit, is this comic awesome now. Just saying that up front. So Green Arrow is searching for Magnus. And he finds him. And Magnus puts him on like a vision quest. Kind of drugs him a little bit. Roofy. And Green Arrow basically is learning about his past and how his family is significant. And apparently there is these cults. No, not so much cult, but guilds. And the guilds are represented by weapons. and I want to make sure I get the accurate amount. There is the axe, the arrow, the spear, the fist, the shield, the sword, and the axe. And um, there are these powerful groups of individuals, and Green Arrow is part of the Arrow. His family are descendants. His father was a member of it, and basically something big is coming, and he needs to be fully realized as a member of this group of the Arrow. And he teams up with another member of the group um, that Magnus brings into the comic. I won't reveal which member it is, but and basically, Green Arrow has now a new direction. Instead of dealing with Komodo and bringing his life back together and blah blah blah, he is basically saying, "Hey, I gotta go do this." And while this is all happening, Naomi fully commits herself to the Green Arrow cause. And when it comes down to money, uh, Ollie basically says, uh, "Money did nothing but get me in trouble. I get a substantial paycheck from the Justice League, enough for me to buy my goodies, and that's it. I don't need money." Which I think is good. Good, bad, whether or not you should get it. Everything's good about this. I like the new direction that the comic's taking. We think we're going one direction, now we're going another direction, and it's a great turn. I like the new character that's introduced, the guild member for one of the different weapons: fist, axe, sword, shield, spear. I do like that character introduced. I also like the look and feel of that character. Um, the Vision Quest thing was actually handled very well. That could have gone a really bad way, but it was handled for the most part very well. And the art is beautiful. Oh my god. Andrea Sorrentino's art is just gorgeous. Um, and the panel layout is just beautiful. I really do like where Green Arrow is going. Bad, nothing. Uh, 5 out of 5, people. 5 out of 5. And lastly, Earth 2 issue number 13? 13. I almost said 11. So sad that James Robinson is going to leave, but we got Commander Steel here. And we got a new origin for Commander Steel, which is actually handled very nicely. And we get a bit of new power set for Commander Steel. In that not only is he incredibly powerful and has this kick-ass robot bionic kind of man body, but he can also manipulate machines. Almost kind of like the cyborg of the Earth 2 universe. And we get a little bit more of Hawkgirl and Batman. And we're talking about the new Earth 2 Batman. We don't learn much about him, and apparently his identity is going to be kind of muffled because, or not muffled, but in question because his identity will not be revealed within the time of James Robinson writing this book. So I don't know if DC is going to stick to James Robinson's original script with anything. And it's still not revealed why he's leaving, but you know, good, bad, whether or not you should get it. I do like the new origin for Commander Steel. I like the fact that he changed up his ethnicity, which is pretty cool. And I do like his new power set. I think it was a very handled issue in that. It's good to see Hawkgirl back, but I don't feel as though she really does too much. We only get a couple of panels of her. Um, and it's good to kind of see Batman show up a bit more. I'm interested to see who this Batman is. Uh, Bad. Yeah, I can't really say there's anything bad. Um, but I'm hesitant to give it. No, I'll give it 4.5 out of 5. Um, I don't know why I'm hesitant to give it a 5 out of 5. I guess it just didn't blow me away. But it was a very good issue. Very good issue. So remember that phone call I told you about? That means I'm going to have to pause the video. Okay. Sorry about that. On to the Andrewcutter picks of the weeks. Coming out at number 3 is Phantom Stranger. Really good story. I really like how it's kind of going anywhere and everywhere. Coming out at number 2 is Green Lantern. Uh, creative team, the new creative team is good. I'm interested to see where it goes. 100% behind it. And lastly, not issue number 1. Andrewcutter pick of the week goes to Green Arrow. How a comic that I thought sucked just turned around so well and is doing so well, it needs to have that pick of the week. In addition to that, the comic is just fantastic. It's turned me around on Green Arrow as a character, so that's saying a lot. So we will pull up the comments real quick, and we'll get into news and updates. And I might have to pause the video again, but we'll see what goes down. As for updates, I've been very busy with a lot of stuff with work, a lot of stuff at home, and that's why I haven't really been able to do too many videos recently. In addition to that, I'm trying to beat Xenoblade Chronicles. I'm at hour 70, and I'm at the final boss, but I'm just not high enough level. I'm like 79 for a level, and it's just not high enough. So I'm gonna grind a bit and then hopefully beat that. And then once I'm done with the Xenoblades, I'm taking like a week off from video games because I played so much of it. So yes, so that has been going on. As for poll lists, I am nearly up to date with Avengers. I am at issue number 10, so I have 10 to read to um, 13, which came out this week. And then I'm nearly up to date with Warlords of Mars and Warlords of Mars at Deja Thoris. Warlords of Mars and Warlords of Mars Deja Thoris will be permanents on my pull list. Although something is going to give. I don't know yet. So I'm going to be going through my pull list. And I'm going to make an interesting challenge for you guys. I would like your suggestions on what comics you think I should drop. Now, in the end, it's ultimately my decision. And if you say something along the lines of, hey, Andrew, drop Teen Titans, it's not going to happen. But I'm always interested to hear your suggestions. Maybe you'll say, Andrew, drop Fantastic Four. It hasn't been good lately. Or Wolverine, why are you picking it up? You're not even liking it. Or something like that. I like to hear your feedback because I am going to be changing up my pull lists. But yes, Warlords of Mars and Warlords of Mars Deja Thoris I'm really digging, which is the complete opposite to Avengers, which has been very mediocre. And is Jonathan Hickman too, and he's supposed to be a great writer and just not loving it. So, anyways, we'll move on to comments, questions, and answers. Let me just pull these bad boys up. We're going to kind of speed run this for you guys because I do take a while for my videos. And we're going to go right to the straight comments and then questions. So, Eli Clark. Do you read Ultimate Spider-Man series with Miles Morales? No, I don't. I don't read any Spider-Man. And I can go into that later on why I don't read Spider-Man. Zach Brown, hey Andrew, I've seen a lot of your videos of people asking you if you could make a Justice League movie or any other superhero movie. What would you do, and who would be the main villain? Is my question. Is if you could direct a TMNT movie, what villain would you have in it? I would personally go with Shredder because Shredder is one of my favorite villains of all time. Yeah, Shredder, if I was to do a TMNT movie, um, what villain I would use. Shredder is kind of a safe place to go. I kind of would want to do Shredder too, but mostly because I would want to make Shredder badass again, like he was and like he is in the current comics. Shredder became a joke in the cartoons for the most part. It's in the comics. Shredder is one scary mofo. So I would probably do Shredder just to show how badass he is. The Geektality. Okay, I've got it. Bruce Wayne's DNA. It is Bruce Wayne's DNA, but Tommy Elliott is the father. Tommy's a geneticist, so he can have some sort of backstory working in a genetic lab, and he changed the DNA to be more like Bruce Wayne's post-Hush. Pre-year one year later, Tommy dominated his sperm to Talia and supplied the genetic info in order to create Damien. That's a little. That's similar to what the way he would create Damien is he would basically pull Batman Beyond in a way, in that he would override his. In my story that I made up from last week, I would have him override Bruce's DNA. So Talia wouldn't even know this. Only Hush knows this because he's a geneticist now. I threw that in there. And he would override Bruce's DNA. Early on, he would but that kind of clashes. How does he know he's Batman until Hush? Well, we can always assume that he thinks he knows who Batman is. So let's just say he overrides Bruce's DNA. There you go. We could have a return of the Falcones. This is Geekality. He has another comment. We can have the return of the Falcones. One of the Falcones is persuaded by Elliot to become the new Hush to kill Catwoman. Falcones are historically known to hate Catwoman. The new hero shows up, helps Catwoman fight off the Hush. However, it's just Elliot trying to get closer to her. Batman stops the new Hush, confronts the new hero, revealing it to Elliot. Elliot and Batman fights in a big revelation. Yeah, you could do that, but I think it's a lot of unnecessariness for the sake of the story. Lester. Oh yes, I've been enjoying I enjoyed the Green Lantern movie. I don't get the hate sense it's not terrible. I'd say it's Marvel average quality, and there you have it. Marvel has tons of them, and they just keep giving them sequels. Um, yeah, I can understand why people dislike the Green Lantern movie, but at the same time, I give a lot of leniency with movie adaptations because they're movie adaptations. They're not going to be perfect with comic book movies. And I agree with you on that. I would say it's the equivalent of some of the Marvel movies like Thor and Captain America and a lot of the X-Men. There's been some really good Marvel movies, but a lot of them have been average at best. And the majority of the recent ones have been average. I think out of all the Iron Mans, the only one that I really liked a lot was the first one, which did an excellent job at just being a movie and introducing the character, but the rest of them have been average. But they're put on this pedestal, but they've been average. Um, if it was up to me, and I hope WB does it as well, I'd just move along with the sequel. In the end, a better second movie would make the first movie one better too, and the whole story. By the way, can you tell people why Jon Stewart can't be the protagonist of this movie? Um, I can't say he can't be. I just think look at it this way. Nothing against any of the other Green Lanterns of Space Sector 2814. But Hal Jordan is the Green Lantern. Plain, flat, and simple. Guy, John, Kyle, Baz, they're all great characters. But it's like having someone else be Batman, or someone else be Wonder Woman, or using a different Spider-Man. He is the Green Lantern. My last comment, promise. Oh, Lester, we all know it's not your last comment, but go ahead, throw it at us. It's just that I forgot to tell or ask you. A movie based on Arkham Asylum Living Hell would make not just a good one itself, but a great horror movie as well. What do you think? Uh, yeah, I can see it being a good horror movie. I would tweak a few things here and there, but I can see it working. Nick Lenz, hey Andrew, three questions. First, what do you think about the new Outsiders series that is revealed in Adventure Comics? A setup? Oh, there's a setup for an Outsiders series in Adventure Comics. Andrew, three questions. First, what would you think about setting up? Oh, if it could be possible, yeah, why not? I like Outsiders. It's always been like a fun guilty pleasure for me for a team. I think the concept of an adventure comic is a good concept. It can be an anthology comic, but a good one that doesn't take forever like DC Universe Presents. I think the biggest problem with DC Universe Presents was that the story arcs were way too long. With something like Avenger Comics, do 2-issue story arc, that's it, split it down the middle. Second, have you ever thought of reading Winter Soldier series, seeing that it's coming to an end at issue 19? I have considered it. I'm not gonna lie. Uh, will I? Unlikely at now, but it is possible later. Have you read any issues of Daredevil or thought of picking it up? Issue or two. Uh, I have not read any issues of Daredevil, but I have considered it. I went into my comic store and we're missing like issues 1 through 5, so I just didn't feel like going out of my way. I don't feel like eBaying it because any issues I don't find at my comic store, I eBay, and I just don't feel like doing it. Uh, Calithanis, do you watch Game of Thrones? I think you'd like it. It's pretty awesome. No, I don't. And the reason why is, like with most things, I would want to read the books first. It's like with Harry Potter. I wanted to read the books before I really got into the movies. Truth Addict 11 should be interested in seeing Jeff Johns has a story with JLA Catwoman going forward. Should make the Trinity War exciting. Yeah, Catwoman's not dead. She's not dead. She has her own comic. She's not gonna die. Calithinus, or oh god, you guys have really tough names sometimes, and I suck at pronouncing it. Who would you put in the next Super Smash Bros. Game? I would put in Simon Belmont, Alucard, Chrom from Fire Emblem. Professor Layton, not necessarily as a playable character, but maybe as like an assist character. Uh, and then, hey, because I'm playing it right now, I'm towards the end, someone from Xenoblades. That'd be fun. Since we all know your favorite Batman story is Nightfall, what's your favorite stories for other Justice League members, mainly Superman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Flash, or Aquaman? For Superman, my favorite Superman story is probably the John Byrne run. If not that, then I did really like Superman Brainiac. I did. Wonder Woman, George Perez's Gods and Mortals. Uh, what else was it? I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Yeah, I would say Gods Immortals, although Paradise Lost and Found was really fun. So was War Killer, that was also a good one. But I would say God Immortals. Green Lantern, Blackest Night, which isn't really a Green Lantern story, it's a DC story, but I would say Blackest Night. Flash, I'm like what's going on right now with Flash, so I'm gonna say the Bucciolato and Manipul stuff. And Aquaman, also what's going on with Jeff Johns. Um, I really do like that stuff right now. So it's tough with Flash and Aquaman because they don't have any standout story arcs. At least for what I read, I never really read Wally West. I read Wally West Flash, but I wasn't as committed to it as I am Barry Allen. I know that's blasphemous. Oscar Otunga, Andrew, your idea of Batman suffering is great. And if you could save 6 heroes from the DC universe because the DC universe is getting destroyed, which ones will you save? Choose, but you cannot choose Batman, Superman, or Wonder Woman. These 6 heroes will defend the world from villains. Thank you very much. Can't be the Trinity. So if it's not the Trinity, I would do the following, and I'm doing this for balance. Dick Grayson, because if anyone's to replace Batman, it'd be Dick Grayson. So that's one. Two, a Green Lantern, so I'm going to go with Hal. 3, a magic user, I would go with Zatanna. 4, a tech-savvy person, so Cyborg. 5, a powerhouse, so either Captain Marvel or Power Girl. I'll go with Power Girl because she has a little bit more of a head on her. And what's that? That's 5, 6. Final person, I need a wild card, people. Let's do a wild card. Let's mix it up. Let's do someone that no one expects. Let's do Deathstroke. Not much of a hero, but I like to see him around because I love Deathstroke with a passion. I love Deathstroke. So I'm going to save Deathstroke. Sure, he's not much of a hero, but you know what? I would like to have him on the team to save the world from villainy. If not Deathstroke, if that is against the rules, my number 6 would probably be. And again, we're looking for balance here. We have Magic User, we have a tech-savvy person, we have Powerhouse, we have a Green Lantern, we have Intelligence, which is Dick Grayson, a Speedster. So probably Flash. Speedster, you need a Speedster. Mr. M99991, you're pretty close to the end of Xenoblades. Yes. Thank you for answering that. When I saw your comment, it made me happy. Yeah, Gato was a bitch to fight, and so was Disciple Loritha. I think I just need to level up like 2 more times to take on Zanzen because I think he's 82. I know it's a question mark, but I think he's 82. I'm at 79, so if I get myself to like 81, I should be fine, and I'll do that this week. I'm defeating that game. Soul Drum 86. Do you think they should make a Green Lantern Earth 1 comic? Yes, I do. I really do. They should do an Earth 1 comic for all the Justice League. I'm late to the part, and I just read both Batman and Superman Earth 1 graphic novels. They're amazing. I would love to see Green Lantern Earth 1. Your thoughts? Yeah, I would like to see Green Lantern. I would like to see an Aquaman, a Flash. Whether or not it will happen, we'll see. I would eventually like to see a Justice League Earth 1. I think the Earth 1 comics are great. The graphic novels are good because that's exactly what it is. Elseworld story, graphic novels in prestige format, hardcover, and the retelling of the characters without and being able to step outside of what the characters are without going too far outside. Um, Review Ultimate 1. Do you like Western movies, comics, or video games? Which of those do you prefer for that specific genre? I do like Westerns. I don't watch them, read, or play them as much as other people. I can appreciate all genres. I do have a soft spot for Westerns. I have to say, out of those genre, it would probably be, uh, out of those mediums, it would probably be movies. Because I haven't played many Western games. I never played Red Dead Redemption. I know a lot of people would be mad at me on that, but I haven't. And the only Western comic I read is All Star Western, so I would have to go with watching the movie. Travis Edwards. First of all, Andrew, you're right about Catwoman. It started off so good. Every issue up to Zero issue was great, but everything after that has been blah. Now I have the advantage of being fairly new to comics, accidentally getting in with the reboot in 2007. I can't say she's better or worse than before 2011. I'll tell you now, she's worse off than she was. But right now, it's just so bad. One more quick thing. Can you recommend any Marvel comic books that only come out once a month? I hate the twice a month comic practice. Once a month. Captain America and Thor, I know, are once a month, so I would go with those. They have been the best of the Marvel now. When I look at the comics I read from Marvel now, and I've read a lot of the comics from Marvel now, almost all of them, and given them a chance, because I worked at the comic store, so I could. I've only stuck with like 5 of them or 6. Other ones I read, which are Captain America, Thor, Iron Man, Avengers, Wolverine, and Fantastic Four, I would only say Captain America and Thor are the ones that stand out really well. Dino990913. Dino, I heard you want to read Avenger comics. I recommend New Avengers. Which is your. I know a lot of people say New Avengers is better. I just haven't picked it up. Which is your Bat Family member of the New 52 or Pre 52? What do you mean, which is my Batman member? Can you clarify the question, please? Dan DiDio recently said Hush is not a villain of the month because he's coming back in a big way. How do you think Hush should come back, and how do you feel about this? I told you how I think Hush should come back. My story, and I think that would be a great way. But I'm glad to hear that he is going to be coming back. You also asked, how do you feel about the redesigns of Bumblebee and Optimus Prime for Transformers 4? I tried to look for those after you said that. I couldn't find them. If you could share me a link, I would be greatly appreciated. Um, Joshua Hayes, you have a very favorable opinion of the series Dark Knight. I'm hopping back on board collecting Batman comics after stopping collecting from 1992 to 2003, and my collection covers all Batman titles. This time I'm collecting quality titles, but pass on those books that are poorly written. So my reviewers say that Dark Knight such negative marks. Why do you think this is? And in your opinion, which 5 Batman books ranked first to fifth and 3 non-Batman books should I collect? This is why there's so much negative reviews on Batman: The Dark Knight, is because it was a bad book. It wasn't until Greg Hertz jumped on around issue 12 did the book become good. And once, no, maybe it was I think it was 12. When Greg Hertz jumped on the book, it became fantastic. Beforehand, it did suck. As for 5 Batman books in descending order of quality that you should get, should be Batman, I wouldn't recommend Batman and Robin right now because you'd be jumping in the middle of stuff. Let's say this: Batman, Nightwing, Batwoman. Oh, Red Hood and the Outlaws before Batwoman, then Batwoman, and then Batman and the Dark Knight. Those 5. Although, be warned, Red Hood and the Outlaws, although it's a Batman book, isn't very Batman booky. So if you wanted to, you could replace that with Batgirl. But it is technically still considered a Batman book. 3 non-Batman books: Justice League, Wonder Woman, Flash. There you go. Hey Andrew, I'm a bit confused on the timeline involving Justice League titles. I was wondering if you could tell me the order of Batman titles and if they go before or after the JLA series. This is what you need to know about JLA. Volume 1, Origin, it takes place before any of the New 52 Batman books, but takes place in like the second year of Batman's career. And everything afterwards takes place so Villain's Journey Onward takes place during Court of Owls onward. I'll do a video to explain it for you. Batman Beyond for the win. What are your general thoughts on Spider-Man as a character? Also, have you read any Spider-Man? Here's the thing about Spider-Man. I don't like Spider-Man, but I should like Spider-Man. Everything about the character screams stuff that I would like. I think the thing that kills me with Spider-Man is two things. Because, see, he has a great rogue gallery, great concept, great supporting cast, generally is a good character and is relatable. My problem with this is, and this is going to sound stupid, so please bear with me, but this is the reason why I don't read Spider-Man. One, I hate Spider-Man's costume. I love the black symbiote costume. I wish they did that. I hate Spider-Man's costume. It's too messy. And the colors just don't work, in my opinion. Two is I feel as though so many people love Spider-Man that I feel as though I'd be, I don't know, just going with the flow. But then again, I love Batman and everyone loves Batman. I might give Spider-Man a chance someday, but not now. But by all rights and means, and I will be honest, I should love Spider-Man. He should be my favorite Marvel character. But for some reason, I just can't get into him, and I can't. I don't think those are legitimate reasons. And I don't know if I why. Uh, Joseph Kerr 86. I love this idea to how to break Batman. My only problem is the fact that Talia has chosen Batman as a perfect specimen and male. So you would need to explain why Hush's baby is opposed to Bruce. Or was Talia in on this game? Or is it a clone of Damian is still alive? No, like I said, I would have Talia not know anything about it and Hush just rewrite Bruce's DNA. Puppet Killer 97. Andrew, how would you screw Nightwing? And how are your top 5 Batman villains, not including the Joker? Well, Joker's not in my top 5, I don't think. Maybe he is. How would I screw Nightwing? Let me get back to you on that because I want to give good thought into it. As for my top favorite Batman villains, number 1, Bane. Number 2, Ra's al Ghul. Number 3, Two-Face. Joker would be number 4, but I'm not going to put him in there because he told me not to. So number 4 would be Penguin. Number 5 would probably... No, number 4 would be Hush. Number 5 would be Penguin. I like Penguin now. Uh, Billy Bob, Billy Bob. Hey, Andrew, if you could direct any 3 superhero films, Marvel or DC, which would you choose? Anything from the New 52 to Marvel to the old Silver Age comics, and any ideas on how you do the film? Stories, villain, Easter eggs, etc. Mine would be Flash, origin story with Mirror Master as a villain, Aquaman with Black Manta, and Orm behind the scene guy in JSA. Mine would be Batman, and the reason why Batman, other than as Batman, is because I would try to seriously put Robin in the film and make it work with Hush as a villain. Why not use Hush? Or Black Mask. Number 2 would be Wonder Woman because I would make the movie work and I would have Ares be the villain. And number 3 would be Justice League because I make that shit work with Darkseid or Mongrel as the villain. Your last Batman timeline was 2010, if I'm not mistaken. Have your thoughts of doing an updated one with the new trades that have come out since? You could even just pick up where your last one left off. Yeah, I have been put serious consideration in doing another Batman timeline video. I just need to map out the timeline. New 52 has not made it easy for me, so we'll see how it works. What Bat books do you consider the Bat Bible? Define Bat Bible. Do you mean like the book, the be all end books? Define that for me. And last question, Omar 13Z, another Batman question, Andrew. So I've read there will be 3 editions of Batman: Death of the Family. I was wondering if you heard of this. If so, which ones are you planning on getting? If you do get the trade, I have not heard this. But in that case, I'm picking them all up because it's like I said with trades, there's 3 that I pick up everything for: Batman, Wonder Woman, and Justice League. So I'll have to go into that later. So those are the comments and questions of the week. As always, you can post down the comments or questions there, and I respond to each and every single one of them. And I will try to post up more videos. It's just let me just get over this craziness that's going on in my life, and once that's all settled, we'll get things rolling. Okay. So with that said, I'm gonna end this video here. This is Andrew saying peace out for now.